days, okay, and you will take that amount of money on the 32nd day. What will you do? I'm looking for an answer. What will you do? Take $3 million today or the amount on the 32nd day?
Some student says second one.
It's a
Yeah.
power compounding actually.
Absolutely, this is compound effect, because that one penny today is going to become $10 million, right? $10 million on the 32nd day. Now, if you do it, one penny becomes 2 pennies tomorrow, 2 pennies become 4 pennies tomorrow, 4 pennies become, 8 pennies, so on and so forth. Okay. These small pennies will make us feel that, we're making no progress. But because of compound effect, on 32nd day, one penny would have become $10 million. And that's what we need to understand, that we don't have to be discouraged for taking small actions, because these small actions, when compounded, will give a great result. I mean, it happened for me, right? From, knowing nothing in facilitating such programs, a small action that I took, okay, resulted in, my career change completely. And this happens in everybody's life. So 2 questions that you have to answer for yourself is, what influence, and how will you expand your circle of influence? Okay. Now, I'll like to give some examples from others' lives as how they have been able to do it. For the example that I gave about myself is a person who's not known, who's just a Charlie who talks about or brags about himself. But I think that's not only applicable to me, but to some of these people. Can anybody recognize who he is? Okay. He's Christopher Reeve. Okay, Christopher Reeve was an actor, one of the most wanted actors, sought after actors at his point in time, in his lifetime. What happened was that in 1995, he had fallen from the horseback, and he got paralyzed below the neck because his spinal cord got severed from his brain. So his brain stopped to function, as a result of which there was no movement in his body. And doctors had given up on his case. But, he wanted the medical professionals to, have electrical stimulation done for his all body parts, so that his body could move because of that electrical stimulation. The doctor said that it is not possible. He is living a life of denial. But within 4 years, because of his constant working on his body parts due to that electrical stimulation, there were signals that were, being sent to and from his brain, as a result of which, he was able to move his body parts. He was far from cured, but the fact is that he made, science think of nervous system in a different manner and its potential to heal. So he chose to put himself onto the cause side of the cause side of the equation. Very easily, he could have said that, I can't do anything because I've met with an accident. I'm paralyzed below the neck. I can't do anything about it. But because he chose to take action, he was able to change his life, and he was able to move around. Second person, Nelson Mandela, he is not new to us. He was in prison for 27 years. When somebody asked him that, how did you manage to spend your time in the prison for 27 years? He said, I was preparing. And he was preparing when he would be released, that, he's going to, fight apartheid. And then he won, and he became the, president of South Africa, right? Somebody asked him that, don't you really feel bad for those people who, put you in prison for 27 years? He said that if I still think about this, then I have not really freed myself from prison, because, he said that, it is the prison of the minds that most of the people live in. We don't live in real prisons. Most of us live in the prison of our minds, and we need to free ourselves from that prison. Another example is of Michael Jordan, who missed around 9,000 shots, lost 300 games, But he never got discouraged, because every time he would lose, he would go and practice the shot 1,000 times over. Okay, he was resilient. He was grateful. He didn't give up, because he knew that, uh, talent is one thing, right? But talent alone is not going to help you. With talent, what you need to do is you need to make an effort. You need to take action. You need to practice. As a result of which, he became Michael Jordan, for who he was. um, she's also a known face, Oprah, right? She was born to a single teenage mother, right? Oprah was molested in her childhood. She became pregnant at the age of 14. She gave birth to a son who died in the infancy, but because of the actions and the decisions that she took in her life, okay, and she truly believed that her life is not a product of her conditions, but it is a product of her decisions. She became the richest African American in the world. Now, these are some of the examples that I wanted to tell you, is that all of them have faced adversity, but that adversity is only 10% of what happened to them in their lives. By putting themselves onto the cause side of the equation, they are able to win through in their lives. And if they can, I can, all of you too can. All that is required is something that I'm going to be talking about, which is the topic of our discussion. I have not used the word of the topic of our session today till now, because I wanted to set the background very clear before I really talk about the topic of our session today. There's another example is what I'm going to give you, and it is going to be a different example of the previous ones. Can anybody recognize him? He was world's number one in both singles and doubles tennis. John McEnroe. He would never stand the idea of losing to somebody. In 1979, while he was playing mixed doubles, he and his partner lost that game. He missed two serves, straight serves that nobody had missed that time. He was so ashamed of that loss that he did not play doubles for the next 20 years, right? And he felt that it was ultimate embarrassment. Now, although he was world's number one, but his thought process was not that of somebody who is a winner, right? And as a result of which, just imagine, had that been that had been Michael Jordan, for example, if he would have stopped after losing, okay, he would not have become a world champion. Thomas Edison, he had to do thousands of experiments before he invented electric bulb. If he would have given up after first failure or second failure or 900th failure, right, we would not have been able to, do this, webinar today, because, electric bulb would not have been there. So there are some people who fear failure. There are some people who understand that they can fail, because that failure is only 10% of what has happened to them. They can always respond by taking action. Now, this is where, the difference comes. The difference is that of a mindset. And this beautiful book that, Carol Dweck has written on mindset, which is basically, whatever I have spoken to you about, the examples that I gave you from my life, and the example of these, personalities, world famous personalities. The only difference between a loser and a winner, a successful person and an unsuccessful person, okay, an effective person and an ineffective person, is mindset, right? We need to understand as to what kind of mindset do we have. Do we have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Now, fixed mindset is what John McEnroe exhibited, whereby because he failed, he did not play the game, because he had a fixed mindset. But if we want to be successful in life, if we want to make a difference in the life, we need to learn to have that growth mindset, and that is a learnable skill. How do we move from fixed mindset to growth mindset is a learnable skill. So now, what is the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset, right? Now, fixed mindset says, okay, can I have somebody reading it out for me, please? One of the students to read it out.
Anybody can unmute yourself and read it out? Students? Anyone? Manvi. Yes, Susil. Read it out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm only seeing 4 words
Sir,
here:
we
growth and fixed
growth and fixed
mindsets. That's
mindset.
it.
Are you not able to see anything else?
No,
No,
sir.
sir. There is a word. Intelligence can be
Intelligence
developed.
is intelligence can be developed, leads
Yeah.
to desire to learn,
Okay. Yeah. So you
embrace
can see.
challenges.
Sorry. So you can see that, right? Can you see the
Yes.
first
Yes,
sentence here now? What is it?
yes, sir.
What is it?
Intelligence
Yeah.
can be developed.
Okay. So people who have growth mindset, okay, believe that intelligence can be developed. Now, here I'd like to talk about is that until 1950s or 1960s, the scientific community used to believe that the brain does not develop after adolescence. It is only in the 1960s there's this concept of neuroplasticity came in, and neuroplasticity says that the brain develops and continues to develop, and we can change the structure of our brain. So intelligence can be developed is what people who have growth mindset know. Intelligence is static is what fixed mindset people feel. For example, I may be a PhD, I may be a doctor, I may be an engineer, I may be somebody else. I may say that I have done my qualification, that is good enough. But we know that we can't, we have to reinvent ourselves, we have to reskill ourselves to be able to do well in life, because intelligence is not static. We can develop that, right? Second point. Somebody you can read the second point.
Intelligence is static,
Okay, that we've covered. The second point leads to,
leads to desire to learn.
yes. So I think it's very, very important for us to understand is that whatever we do, okay, there is nothing called failure. We either win or we learn. So it leads to the desire to learn. Whereas people who have the fixed mindset, they would focus on looking smart. They will not really focus on whether it gives them a new learning or not. They will take shortcuts to just to look smart. But people with growth mindset have always that desire to learn. Now, learning is a continuous journey. One should learn as if one is going to live forever, and is what Mahatma Gandhi said. So I think it's a continuous journey that we need to be on of continuous learning. People with growth mindset embrace challenges, right? Because challenges is what drive them. People with fixed mindset avoid challenges. Now, people who avoid challenges may become successful once or twice, but because they really do not want to embrace challenges, they will never be successful in life. People who have growth mindset always look for new situations. New situations will always be difficult to deal with, but if you are able to deal with difficult situations, you become effective and more successful. Persist in the face of
Setbacks.
persist in the face of setbacks. Now, for
Setback.
example, John McEnroe, lost a doubles match, and he said that I'm not never going to play a doubles, right? Which is what? Which is just an exhibit of fixed mindset. But people who have growth mindset do not give up easily, right? They have a goal, they have focus, they continue to moving towards that direction. But people who have fixed mindset give up easily, right? Now they give up easily because they don't have faith in themselves. They know that there's a circle of concern, but they do not do anything to expand the circle of influence, and therefore they give up easily. They see effort as what? They see effort as giving fruits, right? uh,
Yes.
because if you're going to put efforts, you will definitely get fruits. And the example I gave you of compound effect, right? What we do is we give up after 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, and we give up because we don't see any results, right? But any effort, I mean, this is a law of nature, law of karma. If there is an action, there's going to be a reaction, and therefore we need to see effort as fruitful. People with fixed mindset see effort as fruitless. They will say, oh, it didn't work the first time, it will not work the second time also, so why even try? Learn from
Raj,
criticism.
Raj, will you take the
Yeah,
question at the end, or people will interrupt you?
yes,
Okay,
I'll take the questions at the end. I'm almost done.
okay,
I'll
okay,
take the
okay.
questions at the end.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Please.
So, people learn from criticism. People with growth mindset learn from criticism. And I think this is something very, very important. When somebody tells you that you did not do this right, you don't feel bad about it, because that one direction can change the course of your life. If somebody tells you that this is how this needs to be done correctly, but believe me, it's easier said than done. If somebody criticizes us, we just feel miserable. People who are on the growth who have growth mindset, they will never feel bad about criticism. They will always be open to accepting feedback. But people who have a fixed mindset, right, they will ignore feedback, they will ignore negative feedback. Now they will say, I am a doctor, I did my specialization from the United States of America. Who is this person to tell me anything? Now, if that is the kind of mindset that I have, then God only saves me, because I have a fixed mindset. We need to be open to criticism. We need to take feedback very positively. People with growth mindset, feel happy from the success of others. People with fixed mindset, okay, suffer from something called scarcity mentality, and therefore they feel threatened by the success of others. So remember, if somebody else is getting promoted over you, don't feel bad about it. Only see as to how can you increase or expand your circle of influence, rather than making yourself miserable thinking that the other person got promoted and I did not get promoted, or other person got a job which which is giving him probably a few thousand extra, and I got a job which is 50,000 or 60,000 lesser than him. Don't feel like that. Okay, be happy about other person's successes and then work on your shortcomings. So people with growth mindset, okay, can anybody read it? Because I can't read this because I have the pictures on the frame of my screen. So this point, reach ever higher levels of achievement, right? That is what it
Yes.
says. Yeah. So people with growth mindset, because they don't get discouraged in any kind of failures, they don't get discouraged due to adversity. They will always believe in taking actions, because they know that it is their responses, okay, that is going to lead them somewhere, and therefore they have a growth mindset. People with fixed mindset, they will always achieve less than potential, even if they're talented. Even if people are talented but they have a fixed mindset, they will always achieve less than their potential. Now, talent is not assured. If I have talent, doesn't mean that I have good mindset, right? But what I am able to do with that talent, am I able to learn new things? If I'm able to do that, then I have growth mindset. But if I think that I have talent and no effort is required, effort is only for those people who are weak, then I suffer from fixed mindset. So I think the message that I want to give you is that people with growth mindset have a free will, and people with fixed mindset have a deterministic view of world. They think that whatever happens to us happens because of external circumstances. We don't have any control of these circumstances. Like many of us feel that coronavirus has happened, we can't do anything about it, right? So we just have kind of we take a pessimistic view of life, that there will be job losses, we will not get jobs, so and so forth. But we also need to start, people who have growth mindset, they have a different way of looking at things. I don't know whether you know or not, when SARS happened in 2003, okay, that gave an opportunity for somebody to become to make his organization one of the biggest organizations in the world, right? When SARS came in 2003, okay, nobody in China knew about Alibaba. Alibaba was formed in 1999. It is only because when SARS, came in the scene in 2003, people in China started ordering stuff online, and Alibaba became what it is today. one of the biggest organizations in the world. Another example that I can give you is that of Zoom, right? Nobody had heard of Zoom previous to coronavirus, but now every household knows what Zoom is. And the Zoom owner has become one of the richest men in the world. Another example that I can give you is that of Netflix. Netflix has market capitalization has crossed that of Exxon, has crossed that of many other biggies because of the opportunity. Because people have started watching Netflix being at home. So we always have to look at the brighter side of the things, not at the negative side of the things. And I'm not saying that you always think positive, because then it will be like living a life of denial. Because if somebody is ill or somebody is sick or somebody is not doing well, we can't be positive, but we can always be optimistic that today things are different, tomorrow they're going to be better. And if we have an optimistic view of life, then we have growth mindset. If we have a pessimistic pessimistic way of looking at things, then we have a fixed mindset. It's that simple, right? I would like to end this session with a video. Just let me know whether you were able to listen, hear this. Nod.
Yes, yes. It's audible.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
I was walking back from my session and passing through the gardens between the gymnasium and my condominium. I happened to pick some flowers that had fallen on the ground from the trees due to the rain. While I was picking them up, a couple of people were watching me with surprise. He suggested that I pluck them. This time around, I chose to reply steady. Firstly, I don't like to pluck flowers. And secondly, even if they're fallen down, they're still as beautiful. This reminded me of how many of us are judgmental of others and right logically fallen down. Seldom do we realize that those who fall down may still have a spark in them. They need our empathy and not our sympathy. There will be someone who would know their worth and appreciate the inner beauty of who and what they are. While the flowers detached from the trees may not have a choice but to fall down, we as human beings have it in us to rise and fall up. A terminology I borrowed from Sean Taker's book, where he defines falling up as leading from failure to a place where we are even stronger than before the fall. In the words of Brian McGill, everything beautiful in life is rooted in some kind of pain. Dear friends, if you personally know somebody who has exhibited resilience and made a strong comeback after major setbacks, please share their story with me. I will broadcast one most compelling story of adversarial growth with rest of the online community here. Remember, one story can inspire millions. So my dear friends, what is the story that you are going to write for your life? It depends upon you, because you have the power, you have the control, because you have somebody who has a growth mindset. So that is it for today. So there's a beautiful quotation from Benjamin Barber, who's an American author. May I request somebody to read this quotation, please?
Yes, sir. I don't divide
Yep.
the world into weak and the strong, or the success or the failure, those who make it or those who don't. I divide the world into learners and non-learners. Benjamin Barnes.
Absolutely. So we have to learn throughout our lives, because that is what growth mindset people do. They continuously learn, they continuously skill, reinvent themselves.
Yes, Sushil, you
Now
can
is the
ask
time
your
for
question
questions.
also.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just want to ask that the people who have a growth mindset, they easily understand the problem, and they are ready to accept the truth which just someone tells. But what there is the problem with the fixed mindset people are that they do not understand the problem and the situation. They keep their ego in front.
Yeah, that is right. So I think you've hit the nail by saying that there's ego in the front. People who have ego are the people who will never have a growth mindset, right? And as it is said that a bad day for ego is a good day for the soul. So if if we really want to learn, and if we want to do well in life, we have to keep our egos at one side, right? And you said it right. People who are who have growth mindset, they will try to understand the problem. They may recognize that the problem is not easy to solve. They may also understand that they may not be able to solve the problem, but they would go deeper into understanding the problem, look for solutions that can work, right? For example, you would have heard of that story, right? Somebody sends them that in Africa nobody wears slippers. So tell me, whether people will buy the slippers there or no. So there are two people, salesmen, who go there. One salesman comes there and says that, boss, nobody wears the slippers, so there is no market there. The other person says, boss, nobody wears the slipper there. There's a huge opportunity there. So it depends upon how you look at things.
As we have next 10 minutes
Sushil,
to
does that
wind up
answer
the
your question?
session.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Yeah.
More questions?
I think one more question he has asked, how should we respond to a constructive criticism?
Okay. Now, I think accepting of criticism or feedback is something very important. What you will have to do is that if somebody has given you a feedback, then you try to put yourself as a third party, right? Don't associate with yourself. You think of yourself as a fly on the wall and look at that point, from the third party perspective. Don't think that you are involved, and then view the entire situation as an external entity. Then when you will not be associating with yourself, you will not feel bad about it. You will only focus on the situation and not the people. Then you will get to know whether the feedback that you have got is right or wrong. Now, if it is a correct feedback, you accept it. But if you think that the feedback is not correct or it is biased, then everybody has a choice either to accept or trash. But I think if somebody is giving you feedback, in 90% of the cases in my professional experience, I have found that the feedback has been genuine, and if you are able to work on that feedback, okay, then it helps you. So any feedback that may come in, okay, whether it's constructive or not constructive, try to evaluate it as a third party and then see whether it has any merit or not.
Thank you, Raj.
Yeah, no problem.
Sir, Professor Alok Pandey is again back to the session. Sir, I would request you to say a few words before I extend my vote of thanks. So unmute yourself, sir. Yeah. Not audible, sir.
So you'll have to use your mic. You are not audible. No, still not.
No, it is not audible, sir.
Not.
I think your microphone is not working. आप उसको निकाल दीजिए और ऐसे सीधे लैपटॉप से ही बात करिए.
Is it working? Is it now on?
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, actually, I always hear. In fact, one of the Bluetooth, the headphone which I was using went out of battery. Then the laptop went out of battery, so I changed the laptop in between. So I was always there. I removed one laptop, brought the other one. Because as I spoke almost for an hour to Rajesh a week back, so I gave him an idea as to that I also am a big fan of this theory that whatever the situation, if you wish to bring about a change, if you wish to learn something, you will actually do it.
Right.
So it was great hearing Rajesh. In fact, we spoke for a long time last week. I think an hour or so, I think, and it was fun discussing, the game and how he has played it till now. In fact, life must be seen as a game. It should be played with sportsman spirit. Life should not be taken too seriously, and in fact, we should not also take ourselves too seriously. Is the real learning out of this? Because the moment you start saying that life is difficult, then you're not taking it as a game. The sportsman spirit says that you always value people who play better than you, and winning and losing does not matter as long as you play the game. So you win some and lose some, and I'm a professor of finance, and let me tell you, the overall returns of every human being in this world are equal. Some people get higher returns in the beginning, some people earn high returns in the middle of the investment, and some people get high returns when they're about to close the game. So almost everyone who is here, if he continues playing the game, he will get almost, it's called law of averages. Everybody's return become equal. Nobody makes more money than anybody else. If we all try our level best, we all play the game well, we all will have enough. But only thing, I wish to add one more thing is what is called sustainability aspect. If we just see, what the world tells us today, what the plants, the trees, the rivers, which have become cleaner, they tell us, human beings, we don't need you. The air is so clean. They say Ganga water is almost potable now. People can go and drink Ganga water. And probably Ma Ganga is saying that we don't need you around. And human beings have been too arrogant. We have taken away the spaces of all the other animals. We started eating them. They say that in China, they eat almost every possible animal on the planet. And that's why we destroyed the possible ecosystem for the animals, and the animals came too close to us.
I have 1 minute to get disconnected.
So the diseases have actually, started flourishing. So Raj, thank you very much. I wish that every student connects to Raj on LinkedIn and watches his YouTube channel. Raj, we also have a YouTube channel for IMS Ghaziabad. We're trying to promote it. Please join us as a subscriber.
Sure.
We're trying to add almost, every alumnus with us. An alumni, Professor Rita Singh is here. I would request her to speak a few words. She is the Alumni Association in charge, and probably she'll give you the good news that we almost are on the verge of registering the Alumni Association, where there are 6,000 alumnus. Madam, can we hear a few words from you to the alumni?
Like we made all of us made an effort to get the association registered, and almost like all the documents and all are signed, and it has to be just processed. And we were planning a mega alumni meet in April itself.
We were not just planning, we paid 10 lakh rupees to the hotel also, madam, which is still stuck. We have to get it back.
It is already there.
The finance guy has
We're in the process to get back the money, in fact.
Raj, we'll request you, whenever you are coming to India, please visit us.
Yeah.
I'm in India only right now.
Okay, then you are
He's in
going back.
Bangalore.
You're going
He's in
back.
Bangalore.
When
So we are about to finish.
I'm
We are
in
about to
India.
get
In fact,
disconnected
actually,
to the session.
I'm kind of stuck in Delhi now, right now because of lockdown.
Okay,
Because I was in Mumbai, then in Bangalore, so I'm kind of stuck up right now in Delhi.
So,
Raj, before we get disconnected,
Sure.
it's 10 seconds to disconnect it. Before we get disconnected, thank you so much for joining with us for a candid, wonderful session with our students. So hope to see you soon in campus after the lockdown.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's a
Thank you.
privilege to
Thank you,
be here.
directors,
Thank you.
all faculty members and students. Thank you all.
All the best. Have a great life. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.